Morning, E-Dirt. All right, so apparently winter isn't over, and I was a little bit on the launch of the short pants. Pretty much got to Bronkies this weekend for round 6 of the GXCCs, and when we parked, it was -4. And when my little skinny legs got out, yeah, they were cold. That said, it did burn off nice and quick, and looked like we were going to be in for the treat. That track was the opening round of the beginning of the year, and we were very tight on how much ground we could use. So if you guys remember the track, if you don't, this is how it worked out. It's a real short loop, and the guys were pretty much burning motocross loops. So this time around, Lawrence and the boys from GXCC managed to open it up. The lap ended up being just under 40 kilometers, round about there. So much longer loops. And it did suit the riders, also separated the riders much better, so the dust wasn't as much of a factor as we thought it would be. New format as well, which I definitely think worked out. The juniors and the quads went out in the morning, meant the juniors were actually out there in quite cool conditions, which was nice for them, and a nice short loop as well. They were running around about 25-minute laps. Pretty tight for those kids, and they did a 2-hour time bar. We had a really strong entry from the junior lineups as well. A lot of the 65 big wheels, 65 small wheels, 85 seniors and juniors, and they actually really gave us some good close racing. A couple of the guys had some problems. Christopher Brain, his 85 let go, and Dad had to hustle back and pick up the 125, so he had to sit out the morning race and go and race later on in the day. But the rest of the 85s and 65s, absolute banger entry, real good racing and a good format. We also tried out a new format of trying to do an early prize giving. A few timing glitches, but that actually came right, and I think we ended up doing prize giving around about 1:32 o'clock. So it actually worked out really well. On the senior side of things, the quads opened up the day's racing, and they went out onto the one loop. So GXCCs from now on looks like it's not going to be cloverleaf style racing, it's just going to be one big loop that the quads will open up in the morning and the bikes will race on in the afternoon. We had a real good gate once again. Too Tall was back racing. He couldn't hole shot. He almost did though. This time again it was Gideon Jacobs choosing to race on the KTM rather than his big banger Yamaha. Got the hole shot, Too Tall in the 2 spot. By the second 180 though, Too Tall got turned around by one of the guys sitting around about 3rd or 4th, tagged him, and he had to start from the back, jumping his bike and then plying the field. Did actually get himself up into a top 3 category, so not too bad a result for him. Gideon Jacobs looked like he was going to run away with it. Then he snapped his throttle cable and had to come in tickling the throttle, and didn't look too pleased with life. I know he puts a lot of development into his training and his bikes, and we know that he can really deliver the results, but he's had a nightmare of a season as far as mechanicals go. That said, little Keenan Hammond on the Yamaha, looking like a very polished racer now, walked away with a big win. He was getting chased down by Russman. Too Tall came through. I think he got 3rd place in the category as well, so he didn't do too bad as far as plying the field goes. In the Q2s, looked like Hunter Simon was going to be the man to beat. He also had a major problem on his machine. Can't remember what the mechanical was actually, but he ended up having to retire and step out of it. So Johan Oosthuizen came on through, the big man from Middelburg and Vans Racing division, starting to also link together and string together a good set of results. The quads did give us a pretty decent entry. The ladies, only the 1 quad entry. So with the ladies, we're definitely fluctuating. Sometimes we have 5 ladies, sometimes we have only the 1 lady. And it's something that needs to be looked at. I think maybe the calendar and the cost of quad racing has always been an issue. But anyway, quads was pretty good. Juniors was absolutely gnarly. Then we moved on to the bikes. So that's meant that we were starting around about 11:30. Massive lineup. And the WOW guys, wow, once again, really, something like 48 riders. So that's absolutely huge. Biggest entry on the season across the board, every single time we go out there. Well done to you guys. This is the Weekend Warrior class, and MSA, along with GXCC, putting together this option of a 1-day license, truly working out, and these guys do get to enjoy their 3 hours of racing. And this time around, the 3-hour time bar started from the last gate, not the first gate. Meant a little bit of a harder run for the pros, but it meant that the guys starting at the back in the WOW class did get their money's worth. Makes the day a little bit longer, but not by much. In the results-wise, the OL1s, the big bangers, Massive run. It looks like Ron Smith is going to be the man to beat here the whole way through the season. He is looking extremely capable on the Sherco and very comfortable on the big 450. Definitely a strong gate, but a little bit thin on the ground. The big banger gate this time, and as always, is the OR2s. Lo Schmidt was back. He took a bit of a mid-season hiatus, took some breaks, went skiing, and did what he had to do to keep himself fresh. He was back on point. Didn't enter to actually race and score points, but was there to sharpen his blade for the Nationals coming up at the end of this month. He walked away with an overall victory, but on paper, the overall victory actually went to Cameron Becker. So the kid riding out of the Liquid Moly Century KTM squad came good. Chased down by JC Nienaber as well. In the overalls, though, it was the winner in the OR3s. That's a 250 class. Actually, it's called the 200 class, but most of the guys are on 254 strokes. Taki Bojioges came good. But the wide open areas of Bronkhorstspruit, not like Settlers, where the sand can be a bit of a leveler. This was quite hard pack, and Taki did manage to take a third place overall, but a solid win in the 200 class, that's the OR3s. Andre Besson, he actually kept him quite honest in the early stages as well, but speeding fine in the pits dropped him down to third place. Ian Rawle was the rider that came good, one of the Door Zone Biker Warehouse, not on the Huskies, but on the KTMs. So it always looks a bit strange to see his bike popping out orange rather than the white plastics. He kept Taki honest in the early stages, but had to fade back a little bit later on. It was Besson that came good towards the end of that race and actually banged it home. The Masters categories, crazy busy as always. I think Johan Gray is always going to be a hard man to beat at these kinds of events, but he was kept pretty honest. I think we had around about a 7 or 8 rider lineup in the Masters category. Seniors, very, very busy one. Ludwig Jansen van Vuren, he was the winner from Settlers just a month back and obviously on point and on form. Arrived as what I think the man to beat because he definitely looks like he is in the form of his life. The championship rivals though, Wayne Farmer and Peter Hull. Remember, this was Peter Hull's farm. A lot of the tracks that we were riding on, he will know extremely well. Farmer got the whole shot. Super important, and he highlighted that coming out of Settlers, where he tucked it and went down and got stuck in the dust and pretty much couldn't close up because of that at the previous round. This time, clear air, ran away. Peter Hull looked like he was building pace towards the end of the race, one of the Bert Smith Racing All-Star riders. He had a puncher, I think it was around about 6 Ks to go on the final lap, couldn't actually improve. Still second place, still keeps it tight for the championship, still going to be one to watch out for with 2 rounds remaining on the tour. GXCCs, we're starting to see the guys come real good. For the smaller riders as well, the high school category is going to be a real hard one to fight out. Actually, Besson, I was talking about him in the OR3s. He's actually one of the high school riders, my apologies there. And he was looking like he was going to be very, very strong and a rider to possibly challenge the unstoppable Adriano Catalano. As it was, because of that speeding fine in the pits, Besson had to settle for a lower step on the podium. And it was Catalano, once again, walking away with the big win. In the 125s, another rider who seems almost unstoppable on the tour, little Ryan Peltzer, very strong gates, gets the whole shot. Little Krista Brain, who's a little bit too tall, kind of Wade Young style from a couple of years back when he had to wait out because of his age limit and kind of override the 85s because he's just too big. I mean, he's almost as tall as me, little Krista Brain. Kind of a blessing in disguise. His bike broke, couldn't race the 85s. Dad had to drive back to Middelburg, grab the spare bike, raced in the 125s, came good, second place. And did have to get sign off to race in that category, and it's really only going to be next year when we see him properly move up. He's going to be one of those riders that will go to MSA cap in hand for dispensation and ask if he can ride because he's just a little bit too big for the 85cc. 125s is truly where he needs to be. So that was GXCC's round number 6. We are in the second half of the season firmly now. 2 rounds to go, an 8-round championship. And pretty much, I think it's the 17th of next month that we go lining up once again. Keeps things nice and busy. The national guys, they'll be packing their bags up and getting themselves polished and ready. They go down to the Koa Bokkerveld down in Cape Town, very last racing month of this month. And we wish all you guys the very best of luck. GXCC's does keep them tight. And they always get around about 2 weeks off before they pack the truck up and go racing again. So good luck to all the guys that are racing the nationals. Have fun down there. Next week on Hollywood Hills, I'm heading up this weekend to the Lowveld, or down to the Lowveld. It's 100 years of BMW in South Africa, and with Thomas Bohm and all the guys in the Lowveld, along with the BMW club down there, we'll be doing a nice little activation. We'll be filling that amazing set of corners they call the 22. The road between Sabi and Hazyview starts out at the Woodsman and ends just before Tom's place at the windmill, and that's going to be a very fun activation. I'll try and actually do some edits on the road down there, but it's going to be a nice little thing to watch out for. Not just talking about racing, but most of the bikes that will be there will be the adventure bikes and the award-winning GS series. So I'm going to be part of that. Then at the end of the month, I'll be reviewing along with Kings of Dirt to bring you all the information and everything that happened down at the Nationals. Then we lather, rinse, repeat, and start out another month of racing. September is what we're talking about already. This year is absolutely flying by, but we do tend to wrap up the series very, very early. Only 2 more months of GXCC racing, but I did find out a nice little bit of information from the Van der Westhuizen brothers this weekend when we were at Bronkies. They said to me, we may have another bonus round of Farm Jam FJX. So watch out, I will be bringing you all the information. Keep an eye on Facebook, keep an eye on social media. But if we do that, I'm going to try and crowbar a nice open weekend, and we try and get a banger of a gate. If you haven't been up there, if you've missed the boat, this may be your chance to redeem yourselves and pull in. That's it for now. A lot of information to get through, but next month is going to be even busier, and then we'll throw forward pretty much at the end of September, start thinking about roof, and we'll bring you some reviews, hopefully on some of the riders and the kit. We are still trying to figure out who is going to be partnering up with Hollywood Hills, but it's looking good for now. If you do want to be involved, if you want to be a partner, and do remember to share this out through all of your social media contacts, you can contact me on my website there. Otherwise, stay on the trails, and you know me, I'll be down the road right there with you.